Hello and welcome. And thank you so much, Socorro, for saying yes to sharing your wisdom with me and all of you that are listening or watching. Today is another episode of our Elephant Project and exploring the theme of resilience. And I have as a guest Socorro Diaz. She's an emotional trauma release facilitator through body work. And she's here with me in California, specifically Orange County, and you're really passionate about serving Latino community. Did I get it right? Anything that you would like to add?
I want to inspire my people to do their own healing work that is so needed to be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've been doing this work for many years now.
Yeah.
Most of the people that I serve are from different ethnic backgrounds, but I haven't been really lucky with Latino people, so I'm reaching out more to them, offering my services as a trauma release facilitator, and I do it through body work, a massage that just it just happened, and I can access areas in the body where the trauma is stuck in the area of the body, causing pain and discomfort and illnesses. And I'm able to help the person to move it. It's more like assisting them in their healing process than me healing them.
Yes, like a guide, similar to coaching, just you're doing it through body more.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also do online consultations and guidance. People that cannot come all the way here to me, I am able to guide them where to put their hands in their body and move the energy and guide them to go deep into their heart to the core of the trauma, to be released. And that is how the person gets the freedom of it and lighter and can be more of herself or himself.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love all the different approaches and also representations of different cultures. Yesterday, I was interviewing a friend that's originally from Italy. You're originally from Mexico, living in the US. And also your approach is different, really through accessing through the body to help people become, in a way, more resilient. And also through your own story and the way you're showing up. I know that you've had some things happen in your own body, and the way that you're working through it and with it really inspired me. And the way that you still show up with a smile, even when experiencing a lot of amount of pain, is just, to me, it's like, wow, this is resiliency to me. I want to hear more what's happening there. So thank you for saying yes to share with us.
My pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so let's dive in. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question that I ask everybody is, what is resiliency to you? What does it mean to you to be resilient?
To me, it is to be able to adapt to what life throws you at, and be flexible, really to make peace with the situation that you are living. Make peace and say, okay, this is what it is. Now, what's for me to do? And that to me is the surrendering with grace. Is like the humbleness to say, okay, life, now show me what to do here. How can I move on?
So what I'm hearing is part of the resilience is surrender. Instead of fighting what is, kind
Yeah.
of accepting, okay, this may suck, this
Yeah.
may hurt.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
At times, because at the moment it's like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I live in the land, and it's a little kind of farm area,
Yes.
and I found myself fighting with the squirrels, and I just started laughing. I said, Socorro, you're never going to win the battle with nature. Let it go.
I would add that your part of like the resiliency toolkit would be also a humor, since like
Oh, definitely. To me, it's a key ingredient in life to be to have sense of humor and make fun of the moment. You know, life is it's a comedy, and you know there are times that what helps me to go through difficult times also is like sometimes I see my life as a cartoon.
interesting.
And
Good.
that makes me laugh, and I entertain myself, and in that process actually sometimes I get an idea of what to do in for the with the situation. But to me really key ingredient is humor, acceptance,
Yeah.
making peace with what it is.
I love it. So really, and I'm also hearing that the humor is actually in the previous interview I was talking like something that opens door into or access to the resilience. So it sounds like for you it's the sense of humor that allows you to actually get into a space where you can see like new solutions or a different way of looking at or what's the next step that would help me in this situation, whatever that is.
Definitely. And also for me humor also takes me away from judgment. Because when we start, okay, I made a mistake or I'm in this difficult situation, I got myself into this situation, and then we start beating ourselves up. But when we say, okay, this is what happened, okay, now how do I get to the other side? And that's for me, you know, I start seeing it as myself as a cartoon or some kind of comedy or something.
Love that. do you see it in color or black and white?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that must be so fun.
Yeah, make it fun, because why get so serious about
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll definitely go back to this. I'm curious if now is the time. Would you be willing and open to share a story, one specific story of where resilience helped you get to whatever the challenge was?
Well, the one that I can think of is the most recent that I'm still going through. A couple of months ago, I fell. I was dancing and I fell and I turned the meniscus in my knee. And I didn't, it was in the beginning of the class and the Zoom class, and it's like, yeah, I was in so much pain, but it's like, I'm not going to stop.
You kept going. You are one resilient woman.
I got a chair and I sat and I told the group, I said, you know, I'm going to dance sitting because I just fell and I hurt my knee. I didn't know it.
That it was that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I did it, and then it was like, now I'm in so much pain. Now I need to call somebody and ask for help. And that's the thing, is taking action too. And so I called some of my friends, and one was available. Fortunately, she's also a massage therapist, so she came and helped me. And I did okay. The next day I was fine and I didn't have to cancel clients. I worked, and the next day I was active for 4 days.
Mhm.
But that also wore me out
Mhm.
and weakened my body. And in no time, I was coming up the hill and my knee gave in, and I hear the click.
Crack or something. Oh,
And I said,
oh my
yeah,
God.
I had to even sit there. I was like,
Oh
I know,
no, we don't want to relive that.
I know what happened now.
Oh,
So I said I have to get myself to ER to get me X-rays, and
yeah.
that's how I did. And dealing with the pain really gave me and that moment is like, yes, I went into like, I did it to myself with that severity, and it's like, and it's like again and at that moment when I felt that hardness that in me, is like, that's another thing that I practice and I teach my clients is deep breathing. And I just
Mhm.
start breathing into the harshness. And I'm like, okay, Socorro, yes, you you abuse your body, that's fine. And really forgiving myself at that moment.
Mhm.
And so, well, it happened. Now let's see what we have to do. So have to get to ER and call people, and I was able to get somebody to take me, and so that's what I did. And then not able to work for 2 weeks,
Oof.
and to me it's like canceling people. I really don't like to do
Yeah,
that.
you have a business to run, and
My,
being self-employed, we
yeah,
don't work, we don't get
self-employed,
paid.
and it's like my only income, and it's like and then again it's about coming back into my heart and say, okay, Socorro, you're going to be provided, fine, let it go. And really dealing with the emotions one at a time, and say, okay, recognizing it rather than denying it, is recognizing it, embracing it, and being compassionate with oneself at that moment. To me, that's part of building up resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I didn't know how difficult it was for me to ask for help until that moment.
Hmm.
and reaching out, and it's like, this is interesting. And
What,
that's
what,
a thing. It's like being interested in what happens. And this is one of my favorite expressions. Oh, this is interesting.
okay. What does it do for you when you do? Oh, okay, this is interesting. What happens then at that moment?
It opens up more, to me, it opens another door to explore and say, okay, now what are the possibilities?
Ah, so your door opens to new possibilities through humor, and also, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, curiosity of it. Now
Yes.
what,
Uh-huh.
and so yeah, and it's like, okay, breathe into the shame and feeling like you are imposing on others, and
Yes.
call somebody. So I did it, and so it's always been in observation of ourselves, to me, and that's what takes me to the other side too. Yeah, but then also for me, it was really to understand and see what's for me to learn here. And I love the body, I love how it works, and it's always teaching me something. Every injury that I have has taught me something about how the body works. And really, it was like so interesting to, you know, see how my body had to compensate and the shifts that I had to make to cope with the pain and to keep life.
You know, my mind is my mind gave me an image of, you know, you said that you imagined the cartoon. I saw the cartoon and the bubble. Oh, this is the lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that there's so many points. Can we pause here for a moment and kind of reflect on them? So I'm hearing from what you shared is there's different levels of resiliency almost. There's the body and what happens to the body and bouncing back or healing process in the body. And there is also a process, emotional process.
Mm-hmm.
And that emotional, so the body, we haven't talked about it much because I just interrupted you. So we can go back to that. And the emotional process sounds like, so the door is created by the observation and noticing, oh, this is interesting. And it sounds like if you catch yourself blaming yourself or shaming or any other negative emotions, using humor as kind of a springboard to move you, or a door to go to more resourceful state or resilient state that gives you a cleaner perspective on what is the next step that I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like that one of the support systems of, okay, is connected to maybe a community, because you mentioned you got some friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that would be a part of the resilience to have the friends, to be in the community. But I'm wondering if that could be blocked by our you've mentioned that you realized that it was hard for you to ask for help, actually.
Yeah.
And all so, like, how would you describe that? Would that be a block? How would that be connected or disconnected from resiliency, if there's any connection?
You know, it could be a block if we don't reach out and try to do everything ourselves. To me. And at that moment, that's what I realized. It was in the middle of the week and in the morning, and it's like everybody's working and da. So I start going into my mind of nobody's going to be available for me. And that can be a block if I just left it like that and didn't make the decision to, no matter what, you know, I can send, that was my solution, send a group text message to see who's available.
It sounds like you have a community that you've nurtured.
Yeah.
That you just were able to send a group text, hey, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Find support.
Yeah. But it was a moment that I went through, that it was like discomfort of the discomfort of being depending on somebody. And it was like 2 weeks that I went through that. Because yes, people offered me to help me and do grocery shopping and come, and I even got friends that I'll come and I clean your house, and that was like, oh yeah.
That you didn't have our time.
But in the same process, it was like, but let me do something for you. You know, it was something that I learned, and actually a friend pointed out to me. So it is hard for you to receive. Just let us give you. You don't have to give us anything back.
Like right away.
Yeah. But that was like, yeah, and I have to look at it.
Yeah.
And I think also by not able to receive, we are denying the other the gift of giving. And that was a lesson that one of the lessons that I learned this time.
Wow. So there's the gift already in the challenge that happened.
Yeah.
And it's like also a gift for others who were able to contribute
Yeah.
to you and provide the kindness and love and support.
Yeah.
And as somebody who loves to contribute, I know how good it feels when we can contribute to others. And that's why we also are in a profession that is, helping others, because it makes us happy.
Yeah.
But the other side is of that, what I'm hearing is, and not just hearing, but I'm also can relate very well to, having the block of receiving or asking for help and support.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing when it comes to resiliency and bouncing back or getting the support is if we don't ask for it, then we're in trouble. Then it's harder to be resilient and bounce back. If for anybody else who is in the situation right now that they are going through some difficult times, and they feel in that state that you were in and you overcame it successfully because you did reach out, what would you say supported you to actually, there were some thoughts, something was happening that was telling you don't reach out, don't bother anybody. And then what was the door that moved you from this place, don't bother anybody, to actually sending the group text asking for help?
I think it's more allowing to be vulnerable. And that in that way, it's part of the growing experience to really feel like, okay, I cannot do more about this, and I need the help. And I need to be vulnerable to even be denied the help. Because that was, I think, now that I hear you doing the, the gap, is like that was part of the fear, to be told, I'm sorry, I don't have the time for you. And
so part of this was protecting yourself from being rejected with support.
Because part of my healing, one of the issues that I have is rejection and abandonment issues. So it was for me that I don't want to be hurt. I want to protect myself, and by not asking, I'm not putting myself in that position of being rejected, or
and feeling the pain of being rejected.
And it's like, okay, and also, to accept at that moment, worst case scenario, nobody's available, I can call Uber. Uber. And so but I see it now, and it's another ingredient in being resilient. To get to the resilience is to learn to be vulnerable. To practice vulnerability, to be okay.
The word that comes to me also is courage.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So courage or be brave, how would you describe it, you, in your words? To be vulnerable, what do you need to be vulnerable? What is the ingredient that opens the door of vulnerability, or the key?
Yeah, the word that you just said, to have the courage to open that door and to expose myself, to be okay, be okay with whatever I will get from others.
Rejection, even.
Rejection. Yeah.
But also sounded like that you already created like a plan B. Okay, if I'm gonna be rejected, there is still Uber that I can call.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you almost know you still have yourself to depend on, that you still have some other possibilities, even if you get rejected, that it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I thank you. And thank you for sharing and sharing your, what I call almost like the inner world. And it's very precious. And I always appreciate when anybody shares it. So thank you. Just wanted to acknowledge it. You just showed us courage of sharing something that's very precious and insight that we usually don't share with others.
Yeah.
Talking about our fears,
Yeah.
fear of rejection that I believe most of people have. We just don't talk
Oh,
about it as
yeah.
much.
Yeah. One thing I want to clear or make it a little more clear about humor is to be careful also not to go to the other side of being sarcastic or being because it can happen too. I have that in me, you know. I have to be careful that I can go into being sarcastic because that is really hurting yourself.
Would that be also here on this side where
Yeah.
you're protecting yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that humor is another tool to kind of protect, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, not
Yeah.
ask for help or make fun of things.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
others.
Yeah. Yeah. And that can be also self-bullying, you know. It's like I just saw it right now, so I wanted to share it.
Thank you. Did you say self-bullying?
Self-bullying, yeah, we can.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it starts with ourselves, and
That
then
is
we project it to others.
that is interesting, because yesterday when I talked with my Italian friend, we talked about bullying, and that came up in the conversation. And now you're bringing self-bullying.
My goodness.
I love that. It's additional layer here.
Yeah.
So it starts with self-bullying and being harsh to ourselves and beating ourselves up for
Yes.
whatever happened that put us into the situation that we are now in,
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah. Yeah.
types of different pain of discomfort,
Yeah.
whatever that specific situation is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, bullying, huh? I didn't look at it that way. Thank you for that.
Not me either. Until now, it's like, it just came.
That is the magic that happens in conversations.
Yeah.
Just had a magic moment. Self-bullying, yeah. So what, when you are in the moment of self-bullying, was it all here on that side, the self-bullying, the making fun? So is making fun kind of a form of bullying? Making fun of, is that connected, or how did that kind of, because there's some connection since it came to you when we were looking at this side versus the side when you are resilient and when you are in the space of feeling more resourceful.
Yeah. Well, you know, I could have gone into, rather than when I go into, for instance, I was giving earlier the example of that I caught myself fighting, fighting with nature when I'm trying to get rid of the squirrels. Yes. I have tried so many different things and nothing is happening, and
they keep coming.
Or there are things that work for a little while until it doesn't work anymore. They get used to the smell of the soap that I put, and
yes,
I hate that Irish spring. Gosh, it's so strong.
The squirrels are resilient here.
Yeah, and then it's like it worked for a little while, and then it comes through it, and it doesn't bother it anymore. I feel like, and I was just like, and I started just laughing, but with delight in a way that, like, oh my God, I am fighting you. I was talking to nature. I'm fighting you. I'm never going to win this war with you. Yeah. But I could have gone into being sarcastic and bullying, self-bullying, by saying, "You're so stupid, Socorro. What are you thinking?"
That is like more, I believe you've mentioned it before, like being kind to yourself. You've mentioned different words. accepting yourself. Kind of what comes to me is like more love and compassion
Yeah.
to ourselves. So the humor has it seems like humor is something that is there's a strength that you have, or
Yeah.
kind of a tool.
Yeah.
And it depends which way you use that tool.
Exactly.
For bullying,
Yeah.
or for the forces of good and resilience.
Yeah, right. And yeah.
And love, in a way, love for nature, love for yourself.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of,
And at that moment, I could have gone into making fun of myself rather than
yes.
like having actually a fun moment,
Yeah.
in the situations like, I'm never going to win with you.
Yeah. And it
And
sounds like there's
recognizing the grandeur and the immensity of and the force of nature. But I'm never going to win the war. And it was more into the acceptance of what it is. It's like, okay, now I see the squirrel coming and going, and it's like, okay.
and that's what I really like about you and appreciate about you, because when you get into, I was talking about, okay, I am in this pain, and it's a fact. You have the physical pain that you are in, right? And you, even when you do massage, you still have to somehow stand on your feet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it makes it even worse and more hurting, yet you still deliver and provide, and with a smile on your face, and this lightness and this joy. And I feel there's like so much power in it. And it's just when I look at you, I'm like, wow, this is really inspiring. Like, and you just described it. Or be it squirrels. Okay, I surrender.
Yeah.
And you actually feel the joy even in the middle of the whatever messy, unpleasant situation.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the humbleness that I been developing these last few months, because first of all, I have to I had to cancel, explain what happened. Then when I started getting back into it and calling my clients back, yeah, they were concerned, but only if you are okay. And I'm okay, yeah. So I had started doing like one massage a day, one session a day, and that was it. But then I have to take care of my body. And then telling the client, I'm not going to be able to do the same kind of work. I have to modify and see how it comes. And letting them know also, it gave me the freedom to deal with my own and be checking my body, what I'm capable of doing. The body mechanics that helped me before, now it's not helping me. I have to do something different here. And the exploration and really, talking to the person and saying, this is, I used to do this, but now I'm going to try something new. And it's been such a beautiful experience. But I also think that because I love what I do, it's my passion, that when I'm working, I don't feel it. And then I have to come to, like, it is afterwards I'm going.
When you start feeling it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, now I have to back off and do less and yeah.
So it sounds like not only acceptance of the situation. Okay, the situation is that it is. There are squirrels. There is pain. But also, it sounds like accepting the limits, the new limits or limitations. However, how would you call it? Like new changed conditions.
Exactly.
And you said it gave you, and communicating to others, like, okay, things are changing. So things are changing for me, or things have changed for me. And then having the communications about, okay, things are going to change in our work together, or could be in a relationship, or I don't know, in different situations if we don't, right? So would that be another part of becoming or continuing in the resiliency or in the healing process, having accepting limitations or conditions, or having conversations how does that fall?
It's again going into the acceptance of the moment, of what it is in for you at the moment. And I think in the acceptance is the surrendering to of what I'm capable and not capable of doing it. And communication is another big key, because if I don't tell my client what is going on, or because the person is expecting the usual or something, and I'm not going to be able to deliver, better to let the person know, you know, these are my limits right now. This is what I can do for you. And we go from there. And it's been working. And I think it's what they appreciate about me is the transparency. And that is also kind of makes me stronger, you know, as a person.
Yeah.
My growth and in my healing.
So all that process.
Yeah. To be totally transparent with my truth, with truth.
So it sounds like being honest with ourselves about our limits, accepting them, instead of bullying ourselves. You can do it, just push through.
Yeah.
Don't be a crybaby.
Yeah.
Suck it
up. We have this expression as a Mexicans, you can do it, you are Mexican.
Oh my gosh, there is.
You know, it's like you're the warrior, you know, and I hear it not only in my Mexican and my Latino culture, but also in, doesn't matter where you are coming from, we have that you have, and I can hear it, you are a woman and you can do it, or you are a man,
or you're a man, you should be strong. You shouldn't be afraid.
And no, it is, I'm in pain, you know, and accepting, you know, I'm in pain.
So it's almost, it's connected to the I wonder if it's connected to the shame, if, you know, if the society says you should suck it up, you should go through, don't complain, you can do it. It's almost, don't trust yourself what your intuition or your body is telling you. Trust the others, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's almost like listening, communicating to yourself, maybe, and then communicating it to others. Okay, this is the situation, and now we need to change things up. Wonderful. And I love how you're also looking at it as really a lesson and growth. That sounds like the growth makes you resilient more. You mentioned that you grew through it and lessons, or did I misheard it? I could have.
That's, I think, that the growth and expansion of who we are and what it is in us, you know, that resilience, that courage that you mentioned, that yes, I think it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable and humble. And in the humbleness and the vulnerability is the strength to be your authentic self.
Oh, maybe the next theme is going to be, what does being authentic self mean to you? That might be the next topic. I could talk to you for hours. We have so many delicious topics. I love that. There's one more thing. Let's see. We're almost at the end of our time, but I wonder if there's something, because I've noticed you keep doing this, and it's a beautiful gesture. And I feel at the moment you did it like 2 times, and one of them was protecting yourself, but also comforting yourself and like giving love to yourself. Sounded they were the moments. And you mentioned it also when you were breathing. You said you were breathing into it.
Yeah.
Do you have like a breathing technique, or what does it look like that you could share with others? Like, what does it look like for you when you breathe into it? Is that you do the hands on your heart?
No, actually, it's
So you're intuitive.
hard actually, because I have done some Instagram, Facebook lives. And that's one thing I noticed with myself when I watch the videos, that I do a lot of this or I do a lot of this. And to me, it is more of the my offering. And here I'm
From your
coming
heart?
from my heart. I'm coming from my heart.
Oh, so like a gesture to connect yourself to your heart.
Yeah. And the breathing, I in my website you can find the links to my YouTube's and Instagram, Facebook
Oh yeah,
lives.
I can put it under the video.
And I guide people with the breath work.
Very specific technique.
Yeah, and I think I have some of there that also is the breath and the movement.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because the breathing to me is I'm breathing life, and life is moving me. My Catholic background, it's always present, and for me it's the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
I feel so connected with, because it's the spirit is life to me. And it's breathing in life and letting life expand in me and move in me what it is stuck in there. And so I do a lot of moving, and you can see
Yes, I love it. It's moving. It's dancing. It sounds like, because that was one of the first things you mentioned, the breathing, when we started talking about resiliency, that it helped you to kind of center or ground, or like switch from here to open the door to here when you feel more resilient.
Yeah, it's the grounding. It's like,
So it sounds like
with life. Yeah.
So that could be another, like a tool in your toolbox. Of your own Socorro Diaz resiliency toolbox.
Right.
I love it. So thank you for sharing with us and exploring some of your tools in your toolbox of the resiliency. Any final words for, or advice, or words of encouragement, or what would you say to anybody who is going through a difficult situation right now? Maybe it's pain, emotional or physical, or any other challenges that are pushing on them.
Be totally honest with yourself. This is where I am. This is what I'm feeling, rather than denying or judging the emotion, because it's coming from old trauma sometimes, or this a situation, somebody says something to you that hurts you. It's like, yes, that hurt me, but it's looking at, I've been triggered. Something is being triggered in me that I need to look at. Rather than pointing the finger to that person or getting mad at that person, because actually that person is facilitating your healing of the situation. Facilitating.
Interesting. So would you look as a person facilitating the healing? So the people that trigger us, that make us angry, or when we get upset, they say or do something, or they have different opinion, dramatically different from ours, they could be facilitators of, how did you say it, our growth?
It's facilitating your own healing. My teacher always said to us, when somebody triggers you or pushes a button on you, send them a thank you card. And that's actually what I do. When somebody says something hurtful to me, I go, thank you. I'm not liking it, because I don't like to hear something sometimes. And it's like, thank you. But it's like I'm owning at that moment what it is being triggering me.
So sorry. So the gift in that, what would be the gift in that? The healing. What is the part of the healing when somebody does or says something? And I love how you went back to your heart. So it's maybe somebody, any of you that are watching or listening, like, what would be your gesture that could help you maybe connect with yourself and check in, like, what am I feeling right now? What's triggering?
Well, in that moment, I will just, it depends on the situation that you are in. There are times that you can say something. There are times because it hurts so much, you can say anything. You just can say, I need a moment. And I'm feeling this, and I need a moment with myself. And giving yourself, and there are situations that you just cannot do it, but just own it and be in the situation and just being observant of yourself and dealing with what it is in you. And really, for me, what it works in that moment is like say thank you. And thank you, and that kind of dissipates the tension that I start feeling against that person or that situation. And it sounds crazy, but it really works.
Wow, it sounds like the thank you is like opening to like, what is the gift here that I'm receiving?
Oh, and now I have something to explore.
Yes. So you are here instead of, oh, I'm so angry.
Yeah. That, and like I said, being in acceptance of what it is happening within me and owning what is mine and be okay with it. And without judgment. And sense of humor, it's the breath, the movement, it helps a lot.
I love it. So many tools.
And yesterday, actually, I was in a webinar and about personalities or emotions. I don't remember exactly. It was in Spanish. Sometimes it's hard for me.
Yeah, it's hard to translate. I know.
I like these points that this person gave, and I want to share. Said, let go of judgment, free yourself from guilt, and assume only your responsibility. Acknowledge your body's wisdom, existential acceptance, acknowledging yourself, and live reconciled and grateful.
Looks like you are living that already. You even didn't need the webinar.
We'll learn something new.
I love that.
I'm exploring, and there are so many gifted, wise people out there that can feed your soul and accepting that I don't know, and I always says I don't know anything. I really don't know anything.
Yeah, I keep saying the more I know how much I don't know, the more I know.
Yeah.
So it's very humbling to actually know something, because I'm, oh my God, I don't know so much and I will never know.
Well, and there are always different approaches to one situation, one thing. So
exactly. And just like sharing with, we never know what's inside of the other person, because everybody's unique. So it's very precious, at least to me, for somebody like you to share, and for all of us to learn from each other. Oh, this is the way that you can look at this. Oh, this is a cool tool. I could borrow that. I could add that to my toolbox.
Yep.
So instead of judging each other whenever there are differences, let's learn from each other.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
how we can get through this together. So thank you for being our teacher today and sharing your tools. Appreciate
thank you so much. I also learned some new things in this conversation that I was like, oh, that really.
The magic of conversations. Thank you. And your links, how people can reach you if they have any questions.
It's my full name, socorrodiaz.com, and I have my page in Spanish and English.
They can select whichever works for them. Perfect. And I'll post it also under the video. Thank you so much, Socorro. Appreciate you. Thank you.